So, saw a comment on Insta, it was probably a couple of weeks ago now, and it said you should never respond to a situation, an emotional situation, when you're emotionally drunk. I looked at this quote and I went, oh, that's perfect. I personally have always believed that you need to take 24 hours to process something, to remove the emotion from the situation before you respond, to ensure you don't have any regrets. Yeah, as I'm sitting here recording this video today, my brain is saying, Peter, you're emotionally drunk. You should not be recording this video. You should be waiting till you've had a chance to process it, fully get your head around what's going on here before you put these words out into the public sort of forum. The other part of me is sitting here going, no, this information cannot wait. Like, this is such a game changer for our industry. We have to get the information out ASAP. So I'm just going to start recording. I'm going to start talking and we're going to see what comes out. So what do I want to talk about today? Well, quite simply, GIAs or general in accordances are dead. They are officially now not a thing. Let me explain. Probably about maybe a year, 2 years ago, I honestly don't remember when it was, Brisbane City Council stopped issuing GIAs or general in accordances. So in the past, you could actually write to council, pay roughly $500, $600 and ask them to confirm that they believed that your plans were generally in accordance with the approved plans and therefore that you could make those changes that you've proposed. Now, rumour has it, I've never actually verified this, so I'm going to be clear, it's a rumour. Rumour has it the council worked out that GIAs are not actually a thing. So they're not a legal thing. They're not controlled or prescribed or created, I can't think of the right word here, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say, under any of the legislation. Therefore, they couldn't actually issue these things. They did, however, turn around and say to us, hey, as private planners, there is nothing stopping you from confirming that something is GIA or general in accordance. Yeah, so yesterday I was sitting there merrily typing out a GIA for a client. And I went, oh, you know what, I better update the screenshot here because I always include a screenshot of the condition. The condition number can change from time to time. So it's usually condition 2, condition 3, something like that. So I jumped into the approval package, scrolled down to find the condition and went, guys, we got a problem. There ain't no condition. Where's the condition gone? It's all right, it's got to be an error. Like, no, it's got to be an error. They've accidentally deleted. Yeah, no, it's okay. So I madly sent off a text message to a legal contact I know, got B to jump on the phone to the assessment manager and just go, yeah, so what do you know about this? It's clearly an error, right? Like, we can just get the approval package updated to include that condition, right? Yeah. Turns out it's not an error. Turns out that it officially changed earlier this month. Having since gone through all of our approval packages that have come through already this month, we realised that sure enough, there was that change. It's a bit hit and miss towards the start of the month, but now the approvals that we've received recently, the condition does not say carry out the works generally in accordance with the approved plans. The condition now says carry out the works in accordance with the approved plans. That magic generally word has disappeared. So why on earth would that condition disappear? Why would they make the change? As I mentioned before, I haven't had a chance to process this properly. I haven't had a chance to get all the facts. So I'm only going to give you my best guess at this stage. Contrary to popular opinion, and I know this is what everyone's going to say because I've already started to hear it from everyone I've been speaking to, I genuinely do not believe that council is on a money grab here. They're not trying to trigger modifications and applications to be able to grab the fees. You can go off with all of your conspiracy theories, everyone always does, but I just know that's not it. Like, just scrap that idea. What I do believe is it's potentially two different things. So firstly, like I mentioned, a year, 2 years ago, whenever it was, council realised that they couldn't issue these things because they weren't a legal term. So maybe they've sat there and now realised, hold on a sec, by actually including this wording in our conditions package, we're endorsing these things which don't actually exist. So maybe we should probably not be doing that, right? So that's one theory. The second theory actually came from B and I went, I think you're on the money there. I think you've got it. That council has been under a lot of pressure recently to stop the snowball effect, let's just say, of changes that are occurring out there in the development world. Let's be real. Everyone gets their approval and more often than not, unfortunately, they have to make changes post-DA. And then the change merges into 2 changes, 3 changes, and it starts to snowball. And what you end up seeing is developments out there that don't really line up with what was actually approved. Like, I've heard horror stories of car parks being missing on unit developments or landscaping going MIA on developments and all of that sort of stuff. So maybe council sat there and said, we can't stop people taking it too far. Where's that line between too far and the okay point? there is no line, it's just grey, so let's just cut it right back and let's be hard and fast on it, and then you can't have that snowball effect. So yeah, maybe they're trying to stop people from just going overboard. Maybe that's what's driving these changes. Anyway, whatever's driving it, kind of irrelevant at this point. The reality is those conditions have gone. So what does it mean for us going forward? Well, I've got one designer at the moment. We lodged maybe 5 applications for him in the lead up to that fee waiver removal. So we rushed a lot of jobs through in the knowledge and expectation that the designs weren't 100% locked in and they would probably need to be tweaked or massaged a little bit post DA. I've called an emergency meeting with him this afternoon just to go, we need to work out what we're going to do here. Like, do I issue a stop the clock to halt the assessment of those applications so that we can meet with the clients to go, okay, you've now got to refine these designs. You've got to bring that process forward. We've got to lock things in. And then do we submit the plans as a change application to council to reduce the cost that way? Or do we sit there and just mentally budget for the fact that we're going to have to do a modification or 2 or 3 down the track as the design progresses? Maybe that's what we've got to do. I honestly don't know. So we're going to meet this afternoon and just go, WTF, what are we going to do here type thing. So that's current applications. But going forward, we're going to have to change the way we do things. So up until now, planning has always been a very early days sort of process. So you come up with the concept design, you lodge your town planning application, you refine it a little bit during the detailed design process, refine it a little bit more during the construction process, keep going down that pathway. Now what we're going to need to do is push that DA or planning process right back in the timeline. So you're going to have to put a lot more work and effort into refining the design before you lodge the application with council. Now, my next question, you can tell I haven't properly processed this yet. I'm still trying to get my head around all this. But then I start to go, okay, what does that mean for applications where we're planning to negotiate with council? So where we know we're going to get a little bit of pushback and we go, hey, let's just lodge this, let's see how we go, let's change things on the fly. You're going to be forced to make those changes and really think them through and fully develop them before you respond to council, which means we're going to spend a lot more time in council just refining the design before we lodge it back to council, which obviously goes against everything council's been trying to achieve in recent years. They've been really trying to speed up their assessment timeframes. So I don't think that's quite going to work. But I guess the other option is we always mentally prepare clients for the fact that they're going to have to lodge at least 1, if not maybe 2, 3, however many, modification applications. So you might find as part of the detailed design process, you have to modify the design. Then during construction, you find more stuff that needs to change, so you modify the design. Like, it's just going to be these extra costs. And I mean, for us, we've always charged not the equivalent of a brand new application, but we've charged maybe half of what we do normally for a brand new application because it is a whole application we lodge with council. But if we have to do that every single time, multiple times through our DA, we can't possibly do that. So what do? Do we find a way to try and refine our costs and make those more cost effective? How do we do it? I don't know. I was talking to an architect about it yesterday and she said to me, does that mean that council needs to change the legislation to allow for some sort of new version of GIA? And I was like, council can't change the legislation. Like, it's not a council level thing. You've got to go up to the state level to be able to change it. And making those changes takes years. And if we go back to our second theory, B's theory about why this change has actually occurred, it's not in their interest to create something new. So yeah, it's a really weird situation. Yesterday, B got a lot of WTFs. I think I've moved through the WTF phase and I'm now like, okay, it is what it is. Let's start to understand this. But I still don't fully have my head around it. I'm still trying to work out what the implications are for us and how we're going to work in this new world. I do genuinely believe it is going to be a good thing at the end of the day. It's going to help really clean up the industry. It's going to help clean up our processes, make things more clear cut for us as industry professionals, which is going to help us manage clients' expectations a bit better. There will be a positive outcome to this. We just need to embrace changes in industry and start to work with it a bit. But I guess the moral of the story, the point I'm trying to get across today is if you've received an approval recently, you need to go in and check your conditions to see, does it say carry out the works generally in accordance with the approved plans, or does it say carry out the works in accordance with the approved plans? If you've got the generally word there, sweet, you're lucky. You've just scraped through. If it says in accordance with the approved plans, then the game's changed for you, sorry. And obviously, if you're getting approval from this point forward, you need to expect that you're going to get in accordance. So you need to be mentally ready for that. And then you also need to adjust your processes going forward. So you need to start doing more of the detailed design and thought process before you lodge the planning application. I think that's all I've got to say. If you guys got any comments you want to add aside from the obvious WTF, let's keep it positive. Like, there's no point going on rants and raves here. If you've got any comments or questions you want to add them below and let's keep this conversation going. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.